This here is Beenleigh Bow Desert Road. It forms the boundary between Beenleigh on that side and Mount Warren Park on the other. Thousands of people travel through here every day. Okay, so far so what?
Let's get right to the point. At the southern end of Beenleigh are a range of hills that have been a major challenge for road builders. In fact, so difficult was the terrain of this area that 3 different roads have been built in different locations over more than 100 years in an effort to link Beenleigh with its southern neighbours.
Using historical maps, aerial photos and on-the-ground exploration, I'll be finding out where those 3 roads originally were built and how this current modern road came into existence.
The first European-built truckways in the area generally ran northwest to southeast. These were mainly cattle droving and timber getters tracks. These can be seen on this 1864 map. What isn't there yet is Beenleigh. It enters the history books in 1865 with the establishment of a sugarcane farm on the Albert River by John Davey and Francis Gooding, misspelt as Good Ring on this slightly later map. 5 years later, in 1870, and with the emergence of Beenleigh as a developing town, the local authorities decided it was time to connect some roads to it, and they surveyed this road, from what we now call Windaroo, up past Mount Warren Park and connecting with Milne Street. At this time, Windaroo Creek is listed as being called Scrubby Creek.
The road follows Windaroo Road. This is it where I'm walking right now. And this is it here. I'm now at the top end of the modern Windaroo Road, but historically the road continued out that way. That's the green space area that shows up on maps. Now what happened was Windaroo Road, which continued right through there, eventually went up in a northeasterly direction and then turned up a gentle ascent up onto some higher ground and joined up with what we now call Waraga Road.
On this 2009 satellite image, the bush track is listed as Windaroo Road. The satellite image also shows a path from Windaroo Road up to Janine Drive. The bush track here, though, is listed as Nevron Drive. And on the LiDAR image, you can clearly see the path of the old road.
But why did they survey and create the road up here? Why didn't they just build it where the modern road is now? The landscape up there was just so hilly and so steep, and valleys and gullies. The surveyors and builders had to choose the best option available, and that one was here. The old Windaroo Road, emerging up from the bushland there, and then going on in that direction, up to Waraga Road. I asked fellow YouTuber John from the channel Gel Builder to see if he could go and find this old road up through the bushland.
We want to follow the old road here. This is the road that played a significant part back in the day of having access, I guess, to Beenleigh. No longer used, apart from dumping the odd tyre. We're getting closer to Waraga Road, which is literally just up there.
I've driven up here to Waraga Road and waiting for John to emerge from in the bush land just down that way somewhere. Looks like there's a sign, a bit of a barrier. Actually, there he is. He's over there. So he's walked up the old Windaroo Road where it used to join on to Waraga Road.
Yeah, there's a couple of points where there's a new road compared to what is obviously the old existing road, but they obviously still converge just up here.
Right, okay.
So this is definitely the exit point.
Sure. What's the gradient like down? Is it like really steep, or you could imagine people going up and down?
You could imagine vehicles driving up and down.
The old Windaroo Road connected with Waraga Road, and then turned east and then northwards towards Beenleigh. Saratoga Street is part of this old road and has the distinction of being the first southerly road link to Beenleigh. This is why Waraga Road is in direct alignment with Saratoga Street. They were both originally part of the same road. Saratoga Street itself has a rather curious bend in it. This is a result of the original landscape. The higher land to the east projected downwards, causing the road builders back in the 19th century to curve the road around it. This aerial photo from 1955 shows that the main road still uses Saratoga Street. Today, however, Saratoga Street is a quiet suburban road. An interesting side note, you can see a property line on this 1870 map near Windaroo Road, marking the boundary between W. Knight and W. S. Warren. That line is still visible in the urban landscape today. This road became the main road southwards, in and out of Beenleigh, for the next few decades. And even as late as 1977, this first road still showed up on street directories, though by then it had long gone out of use.
So what initially got me interested in the history of the road is just up that way there. You're not going to be able to see it on camera, or probably won't be able to see it on camera, but there is a distinct ledge running halfway up the side of that hill there, and it goes from Windaroo all the way up to the top up there, and then down towards Beenleigh. And I always wondered when I was walking along here, what was that ledge? It was clearly man-made, it wasn't some natural formation.
This map from 1916 shows the existence of a new stretch of road from Windaroo Creek to the area near the modern-day waste recycling facility. This may be the road visible as a cutting higher up from the ground level. At present, the exact date of the survey and construction of this road is unknown, but the fact that it appears on this 1916 map indicates that it was either surveyed in that year or it had already been constructed before that date.
So once again, I called upon John to see if he could find any trace of that old road. And this is Janine Drive. John's just vlogging over there.
Do you think the road would have gone just a little bit more where the power poles are? Because maybe that's where I'll follow.
I think it's closer to the fence line, because often where you once had a road, that becomes a boundary. And even though the road disappears, the boundary still stays there. So because there's a modern boundary there, I think the road would be closer. Let me know what you find.
I definitely will. I'll make sure I grab your number too first.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
In case if I get bitten by a spider.
Yeah, I can run away, yeah. All right, be careful. Be careful. I'm going to head for the safety of the footpaths now.
Just at the end of this fence line, there's a slight trail. And you can see this must be the back end of this property that goes off a street there. Let the off-track fun begin.
All right, so what's happening is John is going to walk up on that higher ground on the left. That's where I think the old road from early 20th century, maybe World War I, was built. He's walking up there because he's brave and I'm not. I have a phobia of nature. But he's walking really fast too. I've got to keep up with him. And he's on rough terrain, I'm on the footpath. I can't see him now, I wonder where he is. Oh, there he is. I'm getting exhausted just watching him. It's hard work, this exploring.
You can see this track, it does continue here. Well, you know, this is definitely a flattened area, as if vehicles could have driven here once upon a time. Apart from this being an obvious, I don't know, vehicular traffic point at some time. So here we are right at the top of this hill. There's Rob.
Yeah, he's up there. I can see him. He's nearly at the end of the road where the waste transfer station is. So what's the good word?
I'll tell you what the good word is.
Yeah.
It's a amazing section out there. That little flat cutout area, an old quarry.
Yeah, okay.
Quite amazing, really. I find that stuff beautiful. There's definitely an old road.
Okay.
That vehicles would have driven at some point.
Okay.
Nothing to indicate like old post, fencing,
Yep.
signage, or anything like that, but it's definitely a road.
As a result of John's exploration, it is clear that there was a road up there in the past, and it matches the course of the road shown on the 1916 map. The road also appears on this 1923 map.
And it's quite possible that this small stretch of road right here is the last remaining segment of that second road. It lines up directly with the road as it appears on the 1916 map. And it still has that little country lane feel about it. And there's a Salvation Army facility just behind me there. I was told the buildings there were originally built in a sugarcane field and were moved here many years ago. And this second road was a much more direct route over the hills into Beenleigh. It was also an easier ascent, especially for a new invention which was now appearing on Queensland roads: the automobile. So the question remains, when was this modern road built?
On this map from 1923, the second road, as previously described, is still visible and in use. However, on this map from 1947, the current road has now been cut through, meaning that the rock here has been cut or blasted through to make this road sometime between 1923 and 1947. During John's walk, he came across evidence of an old quarry up there. It's possible that this quarry was established solely to provide material to help construct this new massive roadway.
You see, where I'm standing right now, all of this land here has been heaped up and filled in here. If I was standing here over 100 years ago, this would be, I'd fall down. This is, you can see over there, you may be able to see over there, the line of the hill comes down and it would have continued down right underneath here. So this road here is all landfill. It's all rubble. It's all been, the land has been raised up to connect with the rock cut up there. Upon the completion of that cutting there wasn't a great deal more work along Beaudesert Beenleigh Road here. The new roadworks came up to about here and then pretty much stopped. The road continued on, but it curved. There was a bit of a dogleg down that way, and it joined on with Saratoga Street, which remained throughout the 1940s and 50s and 60s and into the 1970s as the main road southwards in and out of Beenleigh. And you can see here too, this is where the land has been raised up. There's the old land surface down there, and those houses there are on the original land surface, but then the land has been heaped up here to create all of this road just over here, and then it drops off again on the other side down to Saratoga.
You can see on this aerial photo from 1978 the last stretch of the road in its final stages of completion. The bump in the land that caused the bend in Saratoga Street back in the 19th century was now cut away, and the land surface was raised to make a smooth, easy gradient from Milne Street up to the rock-cut road.
Of course, this is just one section of road, but it shows how much history you can uncover when you start looking. And that's the wonderful thing about local history. Anyone can have a go and explore their local area. Now, of course, don't trespass, but I do encourage you to go out and explore your own neighbourhood. See what you can find. You might just come up with a few surprises on the way. Thanks very much for watching the video. No, really, John is very brave. He wrestles bears in his spare time. I once got into a furious argument with a lemur once about what I considered to be an odd number.